Welcome to this rapid revision session looking at Sir Francis Walsingham and his spy network. Sir Francis Walsingham was appointed Elizabeth I's Secretary of State in 1573. However, he is better known for being her spy master. He was in charge of dealing with plots and treason against Elizabeth, and to do so he created an intimidating network of spies and informers all over the country. There were spies in every county and major town in England. Nobody but Walsingham really knew how many, creating an atmosphere of surveillance and fear with nobody sure that they could trust their neighbour. The walls had ears. Some spies were trained agents, but others were ordinary people who had become informers. This was often because spies were handsomely paid and rewarded. This made them enthusiastic in their task, particularly against Catholics. There was also a network of European spies. There were agents in 12 French towns, 9 in Germany, 4 in Spain, 3 in Italy, and some as far afield as Algiers, Tripoli, and Istanbul. How did Walsingham go about his cunning work? One of the methods he used was ciphers. Walsingham and his spies used coded letters known as ciphers to keep their plans and intelligence secret. He also used double agents. Some arrested priests decided to become spies themselves in return for a pardon. He used agents provocateurs. These spies infiltrated suspected traitor networks and encouraged people to plot so that they could then be identified and arrested. Also, execution was the ultimate deterrent. Some people accused of treason were executed. 130 priests and 60 of their supporters were executed. But there was also imprisonment. Some captured priests were imprisoned rather than executed, usually in reasonable comfort though. This was in keeping with Elizabeth's policy of not always pursuing Catholics too harshly, in line with her religious settlement. And lastly, torture. Well, possibly. Walsingham did not approve of using torture on captured priests, but there is evidence that he used it to extract information in the most serious cases. In 1575 he wrote to Sir William Cecil, saying, "Without torture, I know we are lost." All of this persecution brought an understandable Catholic resistance. From 1574, Catholic priests were smuggled into Britain. This was done to undermine the religious settlement and to keep the Catholic Church alive in England. They would hear confession and say Mass, all in secret. This was very dangerous, and laws were passed against the practice in 1581. The fine for recusants was raised to £20, which was absolutely crippling for most families. Previously, remember, it had been only a shilling. Trying to convert people to Catholicism became treason. Captured priests might be hanged, drawn and quartered as traitors. Nevertheless, smuggled-in priests stayed with rich Catholic families who sheltered them and helped them to travel from place to place to avoid Walsingham's spies. Given the consequences of being discovered hiding a priest, some inventive responses to government raids were invented. The following gives an idea of what such a raid was like. This is a description of a raid on a Catholic household in Northamptonshire by John Gerard. Gerard was a Catholic priest trying to avoid arrest. There they were, the government, their agents that is, straining and shouting to get through and search the house. Yet they halted in an unlocked room just long enough to allow us to reach the hiding place and shut ourselves safely in. Then they burst into the lady's apartment while others raged around the remaining rooms. The hiding place in which Gerard escaped detection was a priest hole. These were cunningly disguised hiding places that were constructed inside the homes of wealthy Catholic families. This example is at Harvington Hall in Worcestershire. When closed, the hatch looks like a part of the house's wooden frame, but it opened to reveal a cramped but secret hiding place. Our final points then. Sir Francis Walsingham became Secretary of State in 1573. He organised a vast network of spies tasked with uncovering and defeating plots against Elizabeth, mostly by Catholics. He used ciphers or coded letters, fear of spies, and punishments like imprisonment and even execution to achieve these aims. There was Catholic resistance. Priests were smuggled into England. Priests might hide with rich families using priest holes to avoid arrest during raids. Laws against Catholics were made harsher, including crippling fines and extending the definition of treason. Walsingham was broadly successful in defeating these plots. And that's the end of this rapid revision video. I hope it's been useful to you, and if it has, please drop this video a like and especially subscribe to support the channel. Other than that, thanks very much for watching and goodbye.